All right, so today we're diving into something, uh, really practical and useful for everyday English conversations.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We've got this short dialogue that focuses on expressing gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And this is especially helpful for, if you're just beginning to learn English.
Right.
So imagine you're in a workplace setting
Hmm.
and you want to thank a colleague for, maybe helping you out with a presentation or something like that.
Yeah.
That's exactly the scenario we're going to be looking at.
Cool.
So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
The dialogue features two coworkers,
Hmm.
Rachel and Alex.
Okay.
And Rachel wants to thank Alex for helping her with a presentation.
Makes sense.
So let's hear how that conversation goes.
All right, let's listen.
Sounds good. Audio of the following dialogue plays.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but I think the conversation just flowed really naturally.
Yeah, it did. It felt really authentic.
Right. Like that's the kind of comfort and confidence we want to help you achieve in English.
Exactly. Being able to express yourself naturally and comfortably is so important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're here for.
So let's rewind a little bit and break down that dialogue,
Okay.
step by step.
Step by step. Yeah.
Rachel starts off by saying, Alex, I really appreciate your help with the presentation yesterday.
Right.
Such a simple but powerful way to express sincere gratitude.
It really is. And I think what makes it so effective is that phrase, I really appreciate.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just a basic thank you.
Mhm.
It adds that extra layer of sincerity.
Absolutely. And then Alex responds with, the classic, it was my pleasure.
Yeah.
Always a good go-to.
It's a classic for a reason.
Oh, yeah.
It's polite, it's humble, it acknowledges the thanks without making a big deal out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a really smooth and natural way to respond.
Totally. And then, it gets a little more interesting.
Okay.
Alex kind of downplays his contribution by saying, you did most of the work anyway.
Yeah.
But notice how Rachel responds to that.
Oh, yeah, she doesn't let that just slide.
No, she doesn't. She makes sure to acknowledge his help by saying, but your suggestions made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So she's highlighting the value of his input, even though he tried to minimize it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
It's a good way to acknowledge someone's help without, being overly,
Yeah.
effusive.
Yeah, you don't want to overdo it.
Right. Yeah.
Keep it natural.
Exactly.
And I love how Alex responds to that. He says, I'm glad I could contribute to your success.
Yeah.
It's subtle, but it's really important because it shows a shared sense of accomplishment
Mm-hmm.
and focuses on the positive outcome of their collaboration.
Absolutely. And then Rachel takes it a step further
Oh, yeah.
by saying, let me treat you to lunch as a token of my gratitude.
Okay.
So she's going beyond words and offering a tangible gesture of thanks.
Yeah, a little something extra to show her appreciation.
Exactly. And I think the phrase token of my gratitude is really interesting here.
Oh, yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, she's using the word token to signify a small gesture
Okay.
that represents a much larger feeling.
I see. So it's like a symbol of her appreciation.
Right, exactly. It's not just a casual lunch invitation.
Yeah.
It's something more meaningful.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it really emphasizes that, this lunch is a symbol of her genuine appreciation
That makes sense.
for his help.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Okay, so far so good.
so far so good.
We're breaking it down.
We're breaking it down.
And then Alex's response.
Yeah.
He's polite, but he's a little hesitant at first.
Mm-hmm.
He says, that's really thoughtful of you, but you don't have to.
Yeah, it's like that automatic response, when
Yeah.
someone offers you something,
Right.
you don't want to seem presumptuous.
Yeah, exactly. Like a polite decline.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to accept.
Exactly. It's just a cultural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you offer something, someone's going to decline it first.
Like a little dance.
Right.
Back and forth.
And then Rachel, she doesn't back down.
Nope.
She says, I insist.
She's serious.
She's serious. She really wants to treat him to lunch.
I like how she follows it up, too.
Yeah.
She says, your kindness means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It really emphasizes how much she appreciates his help.
Mm-hmm. She's not just being polite.
No.
She really means it.
Sincerity.
Yeah.
And then finally,
Yeah.
Alex accepts the offer.
Gracefully.
Yeah, he says, well, in that case, I'd be delighted to join you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we've got this whole dialogue, broken down
Yeah.
step by step.
Step by step.
And there's some really key vocabulary words that are especially helpful if you're focusing on, situational English.
Absolutely. Vocabulary is so important.
So we've got words like appreciate, contribute, and token.
Those are good ones.
Yeah, so let's start with appreciate.
Okay.
It means to feel grateful for something,
Right.
thankful for something.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just saying thank you, you can say, I appreciate your help.
Yeah. Much more specific.
Yeah, and you can even add really to emphasize that you're sincere.
Right. Like, I really appreciate your help.
Exactly like Rachel did in the dialogue.
Exactly.
Then we have contribute, which means to give or add something,
Mm-hmm.
often to help achieve a goal.
Like you're part of a team.
Right.
Working towards something.
Exactly. So you could say, everyone contributed to the success of the project.
Yeah.
And then we have token, which can be a little tricky.
Yeah.
But essentially it means a symbol or a small gift
Yeah.
that represents, a larger feeling or idea.
Okay.
So like in our dialogue, Rachel offered lunch as a token of her gratitude.
Right. So it wasn't just about the lunch itself.
Exactly.
It was a gesture.
Right. It symbolized her appreciation.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah. So you could also say something like, please accept this small gift as a token of our thanks.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Practical.
So listeners, I really want you to, take these words and make them your own. Repeat them out loud. Appreciate. Contribute. Token.
Out loud. Repetition is key.
And even better, try using them in your own sentences.
Yeah, that's how you really learn it.
Right? The more you practice, the more natural these words will become.
Muscle memory
Exactly.
for your English.
Okay, so now let's move on to some key sentences from the dialogue
Okay.
that are worth memorizing because you can use them in so many different situations.
Right, like versatile phrases.
Exactly. So the first one is, I really appreciate your help.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a lifesaver.
It is.
So many situations.
Whether someone holds a door for you, helps you with a task, gives you some advice. It's just a go-to phrase for expressing thanks.
Yeah, simple and effective.
And then another one that's really easy to remember is, it was my pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
That's a perfect response when someone says thank you.
Yeah, it's like the default response.
Right.
Polite, humble, always appropriate.
Always a good choice.
You can't go wrong with that one. And then finally we have, let me treat you to lunch as a token of my gratitude.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
This is a fantastic way to offer a gesture of thanks
It is.
that goes beyond just words.
Yeah.
So you're not just saying thank you. You're actually doing something to show your appreciation.
Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
remember, even if the person declines at first, like Alex did,
Right.
you can always politely insist if you really want to show your appreciation.
Yeah, a little persistence can go a long way.
Exactly.
Especially if you're sincere about it.
So what I really love about this whole dialogue
Yeah.
is how it shows that expressing gratitude is not just about words,
Mm-hmm.
it's also about actions.
Right.
So that offer of lunch, even though it was initially declined,
Yeah.
it really emphasizes how much Rachel appreciates Alex's help.
Absolutely. It makes it more meaningful.
Right. It shows that she's willing to go the extra mile.
Yeah. Little effort goes a long way.
And speaking of going the extra mile,
Oh, a transition.
I want to highlight a fantastic service called Kaz English.
Okay, I've heard of this.
Yeah, it's specifically designed for beginner and lower intermediate English learners.
Cool. So perfect for our audience.
Exactly. So it's like many of you listening,
Makes sense.
and it's a fantastic resource if you want to improve your conversational skills.
Yeah, conversational English is so important.
Absolutely. You got to be
Wow.
able to, speak confidently and fluently in different situations.
Real life situation.
Real life situations, right?
Not just textbook stuff.
Right, exactly. And what's really cool about Kaz English is that they use a variety of situational dialogues.
Oh, like the one we just analyzed.
Exactly.
So you can see how these phrases are used in context. That's really helpful.
Yeah, and they have this unique learning player.
Oh, tell me more about that.
So it lets you break down dialogues,
Okay.
practice your pronunciation,
Cool.
and even record yourself speaking.
So you can hear yourself and see how you're doing.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's like having a personal English tutor right in your pocket.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a fun and effective way to improve your English,
Yes.
especially your conversational skills,
Mm-hmm.
I'd highly recommend checking out Kaz English.
Sounds like a great resource.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does make a difference. And now that we've kind of gone through this whole dialogue,
Mhm.
what are some things that really stand out to you?
Well, I think one of the big takeaways,
Yeah.
especially for English learners,
Mm-hmm.
is how Rachel goes beyond just saying thank you.
Right.
She really emphasizes her sincerity. You know,
Yeah.
she uses phrases like, I really appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
and your kindness means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So she's really showing that, she's not just being polite.
Right.
She's genuinely touched by Alex's help.
It's about adding that extra layer of emotion,
Exactly.
going beyond the basic phrases.
And I think that's really helpful for English learners
Yeah.
to see how these phrases are used
Mm-hmm.
in a natural, everyday conversation.
Absolutely. It gives them a model to follow for how to express gratitude in their own lives.
And remember we talked about some key vocabulary words
Yes.
like appreciate,
Mm-hmm.
contribute, and token.
Those are important ones.
Yeah, I really encourage you to practice using those words.
Yes, practice makes perfect.
And your own sentences.
Absolutely.
The more you use them, the more confident you'll become.
Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to practice out loud.
Even if you're by yourself.
Even if you're by yourself.
Talk to the mirror.
Right.
It helps.
Okay, and before we wrap up, I want to remind everyone about that fantastic service we mentioned.
Oh, yes.
Kaz English.
Kaz English.
Specifically designed for beginner and lower intermediate English learners.
Perfect for our audience.
Exactly. And it's a great resource for anyone who wants to improve their conversational skills.
What I love about Kaz English is that
Yeah.
they use a variety of situational dialogues,
Mm-hmm.
just like the one we analyzed today.
Exactly.
So you can really see how these phrases are used in context.
And they have that unique learning player.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
So it lets you break down the dialogues,
Okay.
practice your pronunciation,
Cool.
and even record yourself speaking.
She can hear how you sound.
Right. It's like having a personal English tutor right in your pocket.
That's a great way to put it.
So if you're looking for a fun and effective way to improve your English,
Mm-hmm.
especially your conversational skills, check out Kaz English.
Definitely worth checking out.
And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into expressing gratitude,
Yeah.
make sure to subscribe to our channel
Yes.
and give this episode a like.
It really helps us out.
It really does help us create more content like this.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
keep learning, keep practicing,
Mm-hmm.
and never underestimate the power of a sincere thank you.
Beautifully said. And until next time, happy learning, everyone. All right, let's dive right in. So you're here because you're trying to, level up your English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially those everyday conversations that can sometimes feel a little tricky.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to break down a real chat between two friends who are planning a trip to a food festival. And believe me, it is packed with useful phrases that you can start using right away.
You know what I find so fascinating about language is that even simple phrases, right, they can take on different meanings depending on who's saying them and why they're saying them. So thinking about the context of this friendly chat is going to be key for us.
Exactly. It's all about the context. Okay, so picture this. You're Nina, you're hanging out with your friend Jack, and you've got this amazing food festival on your mind that you just, have to tell him about.
Mm-hmm.
How would you bring it up? How would you start that conversation?
Well, in this case, Nina starts off with, Jack, have you heard about the upcoming food festival? Now, it's casual, it's friendly, and it's a really common way to introduce a topic, something that you're excited about in English.
Yeah, it's like my go-to phrase.
Yeah.
And, Jack's response, it shows, he's interested, right? He goes, no, I haven't. When is it happening? See, it just keeps that conversation flowing so naturally.
Exactly. Each person, they contribute. It builds this natural back and forth,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is, the heart of a good conversation. Now, Nina could have just stopped at saying the date, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead, she adds this little detail. It's next weekend, and there will be vendors from all over the world.
Ooh. Hold on. Vendors. Now, this is a word you'll hear a lot, especially at events like this. And
Absolutely.
it basically just means people who are selling things.
Yeah.
But in this context, at a food festival, we're talking about, ooh, delicious food from all corners of the globe.
Right. Just imagine, like, rows and rows of stalls, each one offering a different cuisine. It paints such a vivid picture in your mind, and that's what good English does. So, how do you think Jack reacts to this news?
Well, if I was Jack, I'd be like, super hyped. And Jack doesn't disappoint,
Yeah.
right? It's like, sounds amazing. I mean, this is such a useful phrase because you can use it for, pretty much anything that sparks your interest.
It's all about how you say it, too, right? A bright tone, a genuine smile. It can make sounds amazing even more impactful. But, good conversations, they're not just about agreeing all the time.
Right.
Jack keeps things moving with a very practical question. He asks, is there an entrance fee?
Getting right to the important stuff.
Is that close?
And Nina, being the amazing friend that she is, she's got the inside scoop. She says, there's an early bird discount if we book now. Okay, two things I want to unpack here. Early bird discount and booking now to avoid disappointment.
Oh, there's so much to dive into there. First, early bird discount. This is so common in English. It basically means if you act fast, you get a better price.
Oh.
Think of it like the early bird gets the worm, but for events and deals and all sorts of things.
I love that. And then there's that underlying message, right? Avoid disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
This is essential.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about, preventing that negative feeling like missing out on something you really wanted to do, like in this case, the food festival.
Right.
Yeah.
It subtly implies that if they don't book those tickets now, something bad might happen. The tickets might sell out. They might miss out on this amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of fear of missing out is actually a pretty big deal in English-speaking cultures.
Oh, totally.
I think you'll hear this phrase a lot.
Yeah, you'll hear it everywhere. And avoid disappointment isn't just about, tickets to events or stuff like that. You can use it for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Anything where you want to make sure you get it. You know what I mean? Now, before we go any further, I think it's time for a quick vocab recap.
Yes, let's do it.
We've got vendor, we've got early bird, and we've got disappointment.
Yeah.
So are you ready to test yourselves, listeners?
All right, let's make sure we've got these locked in. Remember, a vendor is basically like a shopkeeper, but usually at events like our food festival.
Right.
An early bird is someone who acts fast, to get that benefit. And disappointment is that feeling you get when things don't go your way, when you miss out on something you were looking forward to.
Exactly. And trust me, you want to avoid disappointment, especially when it comes to a food festival this epic. But here's the thing. Learning from real conversations like this is awesome, but it's just the start. You need a way to practice, right, to really make these phrases stick.
You got it.
So stick with us because this conversation is about to get even more interesting in the next part.
Oh, yeah. We're just getting started. Welcome back. We're still digging into this conversation between Nina and Jack, who are getting ready for that fantastic food festival. Remember, we're not just translating here.
Great.
We're trying to figure out the strategies that good English speakers use to sound natural and confident.
Totally. And, we left off with Jack revealing what he's most excited about at this food festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, great, I'm particularly interested in the live performances. Now, this is a great way to, steer the conversation towards something that you're personally curious about.
Right. And it's way more specific than just saying, that's cool or that sounds fun.
Yeah.
Using phrases like particularly interested in, it really makes you sound engaged.
Yeah.
And it helps you practice, those slightly more complex sentence structures.
Oh, that's a good point. And now Nina, like the awesome friend that she is, She jumps in and says they've arranged cultural shows throughout the day.
Now, this is where things get even more interesting. It's not just about the food anymore. It's about experiencing different cultures, and that adds a whole new layer to the conversation.
I love that.
And notice how Nina uses the present perfect tense here, they've arranged, to talk about something that's already planned for the future.
Ooh, the present perfect.
Yes.
It can be a little bit tricky for English learners, I know.
It can be, yeah.
Like the action started in the past,
Yeah.
but it's still like relevant now because the cultural shows are, happened at the festival.
Exactly. It connects that past action to the present moment, which is, it's a subtle but important nuance of the English language.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go back to that powerful sentence we talked about earlier. Let's get our tickets now to avoid disappointment.
Yes. This is such a key takeaway from this whole conversation.
It really is.
It's short, it's impactful, and it highlights like a common pattern in English.
Okay.
Suggestion plus reason.
Absolutely. Break it down for us.
So let's get our tickets now. That's the suggestion. To avoid disappointment. That's the reason.
Yeah.
It explains, why they need to act fast.
Perfectly said.
Okay.
And you can use this pattern for all sorts of things.
You can. Like, let's grab some coffee to catch up, or let's take a walk to get some fresh air. It's simple, but it's so effective.
Simple and effective, that's the key. It's all about learning these building blocks and then putting them together in different ways to express yourself.
Yeah.
That's how you truly become a fluent English speaker.
All right, time for another quick vocab check.
Mm-hmm.
We had vendor, early bird, and disappointment.
Yeah, are you ready?
I think so. All right, so listeners, are you ready to test yourselves?
Let's do it. A vendor is someone selling something, especially at an event like our food festival here.
Right.
An early bird is someone who acts quickly to snag a benefit, like a discount on those festival tickets. And disappointment. Well, that's the feeling you get when you miss out on something awesome, maybe because you waited too long.
Exactly. Avoid disappointment at all costs, especially when it comes to a food festival this epic.
Right.
But you know what? Learning from these real conversations is great, but it's just the beginning. You got to find ways to actually practice these phrases, to make them stick.
Absolutely. And speaking of practice, have you heard of Kaz English?
Kaz English. What's that?
It's this really cool language learning service that uses, guess what? Situational dialogues, just like the one we've been analyzing here.
Wow.
It helps you understand and speak English, more confidently in those real-world situations.
Ooh, that sounds really interesting. Is it good for beginners?
It is. It's perfect for learners at the beginner and, early intermediate levels.
Yeah.
They've got all sorts of interactive tools and exercises, all built around everyday conversations.
That sounds pretty amazing.
I highly recommend it. It could be a game changer.
Cool. How do people find them?
You can find Kaz English at website address.
Okay, website address. Got it. Yeah. And don't forget, while you're checking out that website, why not like and subscribe to this podcast?
Yeah.
We've got more deep dives into the world of language and learning coming your way.
Now, before we wrap up this part, we want to leave you with a little challenge. Imagine yourself at that food festival, right? Surrounded by all those amazing smells and the sounds of the music, the excitement in the air.
Oh, yeah.
What English phrases would you use to strike up a conversation with, say, a vendor or another festival goer?
Ooh, that's a great question.
It's all about putting what we've learned into action, right?
Totally.
Think about those phrases we've discussed, like, have you heard about sounds amazing? Let's do, wow! And see how you can adapt them to all those different situations that come up in real life.
This is where the real learning begins. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. It's been so fun breaking down this conversation between Nina and Jack, especially all the cool strategies they use to, navigate this whole food festival situation.
Right. Like, they're not just exchanging information. They're really building a connection, and that's what we want to help you do, too.
Exactly. So let's do a quick recap of some of the gems that we've uncovered today, starting with how important context is.
Oh, a context is everything.
Like even a simple phrase like sounds amazing, it can take on totally different meanings depending on how you say it, why you say it, who
Yeah.
you're saying it to.
Yeah. Your body language, your tone of voice, those are all part of the message, not just the words themselves.
Totally. And, we also saw how Nina, she like skillfully introduced the topic of the food festival. And she used all this descriptive language
Hmm.
to really paint a picture for Jack, get him excited.
She really drew him in. And then, of course, we can't forget those super useful phrases like, have you heard about? And let's get our tickets now to avoid disappointment. Those are like, I don't know, like your conversational Swiss Army knives.
Oh, I love that.
You can use them in so many different situations. And then there's that pattern we talked about, suggestion plus reason.
Yes.
Super powerful.
Okay, pop quiz time,
Yeah.
just to make sure we're all on the same page.
All right, hit us with it.
Remember those three keywords we kept coming back to? Vendor, early bird, and disappointment.
Ah, yes. Let's see if our listeners have been paying attention.
All right, quick, what do they mean again?
Okay, think fast. A vendor is someone who's selling something, right? Often at an event like our food festival. An early bird is someone who acts quickly to get a benefit like that sweet discount. And disappointment, well, that's the feeling you get when you miss out because you waited too long to jump on something awesome.
Nailed it. You guys are well on your way to mastering these everyday English conversations.
You really are.
And hey, speaking of mastering English conversations, don't forget about Kaz English.
Oh, yeah, Kaz English.
Remember that awesome language learning platform we talked about?
They've got this incredible system built around real-life dialogues, and it's perfect for beginners and those who are, starting to move into that intermediate level. You can find them at website address.
Awesome. Kaz English. Check it out. Okay, but before we say goodbye for today, we want to leave you with a little challenge.
A challenge. I like it.
So we want you to think about how you would use what we've learned today in your own life, in your own conversations.
So imagine you're at the store, or maybe at a cafe, or even just chatting with someone online. How could you use those phrases, that tone of voice, all those cool conversational strategies that we talked about to express yourself more confidently in English?
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? It's about
Yeah,
empowering you to actually use English in the real world.
exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, yeah, mistakes are part of the process.
That's how we learn and grow.
So keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep diving deep into the world of language. Until next time.
Happy learning, everyone.
All right, so today we're going to be diving deep into a conversation about stress relief methods. And, if you're looking to improve your English, especially for like casual everyday situations, this is going to be really helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to be breaking down a chat between these two native English speakers, David and Lisa. And you'll learn how to talk about things like stress in English, but also maybe even pick up a few new tips for yourself along the way.
That's right.
Yeah, win-win.
And I think what's really fascinating about this dialogue is it gives you a glimpse into how native English speakers actually use the language. How they give advice, how they kind of express empathy, and how they talk about things that are universal, like stress.
Okay, so let's set the scene a little bit.
Mm.
Imagine you're Lisa, and you're feeling super overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Deadlines are piling up. To-do list is growing longer by the minute. And you bump into David, who just always seems so calm and collected. How would you approach this?
Well, Lisa does something really clever. She starts by saying, David, you always seem so relaxed. How do you manage stress? And I think it's interesting how she frames this. It's not a desperate plea for help.
Totally. It's more like she's admiring his superpower.
Yeah, exactly.
This ability to stay relaxed even when everything's kind of going crazy around him.
Yeah, and by phrasing it this way, she makes him feel good. It's much more likely that he's going to want to share. And so this is a great technique to remember. If you want to ask for advice in English, a little compliment can go a long way.
For sure. For sure. Okay, so David, being the chill master he is, says, well, I've found meditation really helps me unwind. Let's pause here for a sec because unwind is a key word to understand. It
No.
means to relax, to kind of de-stress, to let go of all that tension.
It's like taking a deep breath after you've been holding it in for way too long.
Ugh. Yeah, exactly. And notice how he uses the present perfect tense. He says, I found. This means he's tried different things and meditation's what works for him.
Right? It's not just a random suggestion. He's actually speaking from experience, which I think makes the advice much more credible.
Definitely, definitely. Okay, so David goes on to say, I meditate for just 10 minutes every morning to clear my mind. Now let's unpack this a little bit.
So the expression clear my mind, it's a metaphor, of course. It doesn't mean you're literally emptying your mind of all thoughts.
Okay.
It's more about finding a sense of calm and focus and letting go of all those racing thoughts that often lead to stress.
So like silencing that little voice in your head that's always telling you what you should be doing or how you should be feeling.
And notice the word just is really important here, too. David is emphasizing that even a short amount of time, even just 10 minutes, can be enough to feel some benefits.
Right. And that can be really encouraging for someone who's maybe new to meditation.
Absolutely.
It's basically saying, hey, you don't have to become a monk and meditate for hours. Start small and see how it feels.
Right.
So now imagine you're Lisa, again, hearing this advice. You're probably thinking, wow, that sounds pretty doable. Maybe I should give this a shot.
Totally.
And that's exactly how she responds. She says, that sounds beneficial. What else do you do? So she's clearly interested and wants to learn more. This is a great example of how to keep a conversation going in English.
It is. She's showing genuine interest. She's politely asking for more advice, and she's keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, totally. So David, always happy to help, goes on to say, I try to maintain a regular exercise routine. It's a great stress buster. Okay, stress buster. I love that word.
Yeah, it's so visual.
It is,
Like
yeah.
this image of someone you know punching stress right in the face.
Yeah, and exercise really is like a superhero for your mental health. It releases all these endorphins, those feel-good chemicals,
Right.
and it helps reduce stress.
Plus, it can give you a feeling of control over your body and your mind. And that's really helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Right. Okay, speaking of overwhelmed, Lisa says, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. Maybe I should try these. So this is a word that's super important to understand when talking about stress.
Yeah, it describes that feeling of being completely swamped. Like you have too much on your plate
Yeah,
and you just can't keep up.
that's like your brain is just saying, nope, can't handle one more thing.
Exactly.
And it's a feeling that I think a lot of people can relate to, especially if you're learning a new language.
Absolutely. Learning a language can be really rewarding, but it can definitely be overwhelming at times too.
Right. So remember, you're not alone if you feel this way. And that's why it's important to find healthy coping mechanisms.
Like the ones David is talking about.
Exactly.
Okay, so David's next piece of advice is a little more nuanced. He says, also try to practice mindfulness during daily activities.
Okay, this is where things start to get really interesting.
Right, because mindfulness is one of those buzzwords that gets thrown around a lot.
It is.
But what does it actually mean? And how do you actually do it? That's something that we're going to explore in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And in the meantime, if you're enjoying this breakdown of real-life English conversations and you want to hear more, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got lots more to uncover.
Lots more coming up.
Welcome back. So remember, we left off with David dropping this mindfulness gem on us. Well, let's unpack that a little bit, because it's actually way more practical than it sounds.
Yeah, mindfulness, it's one of those words that you hear everywhere these days.
Yeah.
But it can be hard to know, like, how to actually practice it, you know?
Right, especially when you're busy and you've got a million things going on.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so picture this. You're rushing to work, your mind's already racing through your to-do list, and you spill coffee all over yourself.
Ugh, the worst.
Right, total disaster.
Happens to me all the time.
So normally you might freak out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, why me? I'm such a klutz. This day is already ruined.
Yeah, exactly.
But with mindfulness, it's all about hitting pause, taking a deep breath, and just noticing what's happening without judgment. You might say to yourself, okay, I spilled coffee. It's not ideal, but it doesn't mean the whole day is a wash.
So it's about kind of acknowledging the situation without, like, beating yourself up about it.
Right, exactly. And then you just focus on cleaning up the mess, one step at a time. You feel the water on your hands, the smell of the soap. You're completely present in that moment, not letting your thoughts run wild with worry about the future.
It's like you're bringing your attention back to your senses, to the physical world.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about mindfulness. It's not about escaping reality. It's about engaging with it more fully, even the messy parts.
I love that.
And so if we go back to the dialogue, remember how Lisa responds to David's advice?
Yeah.
She says, "Thanks for the advice. I'll start with simple meditation." All right. So it's interesting how she chooses meditation as her entry point into this world of mindfulness.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Well, I think for a lot of people, meditation provides a structured way to practice mindfulness.
That makes sense.
You're literally sitting there closing your eyes and focusing on your breath.
Right.
It helps you develop that ability to just observe your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them.
So for someone who's totally new to all of this, it can be a really good way to start.
Exactly. And just like with exercise, you don't have to start by running a marathon.
Right.
Remember what David said, I meditate for just 10 minutes every morning.
Yeah.
Find a quiet place, set a timer, and just focus on your breathing.
Okay, so I want to go back to that word overwhelmed for a second.
Mm.
Because it's such a common word when we talk about stress.
Yeah, it's that feeling of being totally swamped, like you're drowning in responsibility. We're just drowning in your emotions.
And it's a tricky word, I think, for English learners because there isn't always a direct translation.
Yeah, it's more than just feeling stressed. It's like you feel incapable of coping with all the demands on you. Imagine a tiny boat in a stormy sea. That's kind of what it feels like to be overwhelmed.
There's a perfect image.
Yeah, and remember, Lisa used the present perfect continuous tense. She said, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. So it's not just a fleeting moment of stress. It's something she's been struggling with for a while.
Yeah, it emphasizes that ongoing nature of her feeling overwhelmed.
Right, and it highlights the importance of finding those healthy coping mechanisms.
Like the ones David's talking about.
Right. Meditation, exercise, mindfulness. These are all tools that can help you regain that sense of balance when you're feeling overwhelmed.
So even though this dialogue is pretty short and simple, it's actually packed with so much useful stuff, not just about English, but about dealing with stress in general.
It's true. It reminds us that we don't have to suffer alone. We can talk to people about how we're feeling, and we can learn from each other's experiences.
I love that. Okay, so before we move on, why don't we quickly recap some of those key vocabulary words? So we had unwind, which means to relax and let go of tension. Overwhelmed, which is that feeling of being totally swamped. And then mindfulness, which is about paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Right. Try using those in your own conversations this week. You'll be surprised how often they come up, especially when you're talking about stress.
And the more you use them, the more confident you'll become.
Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit and think about how this whole conversation started. Lisa asked this really simple question. You always seem so relaxed. And it led to this really deep conversation about stress management and mindfulness.
It did.
So I think it shows how powerful curiosity can be and how even seemingly casual conversations can lead to some pretty amazing insights.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing how, like, a simple question like, you always seem so relaxed, can lead to such a deep conversation about stress and mindfulness.
Right. It shows the power of just being curious and asking questions. Lisa could have just kept her stress to herself, but she decided to reach out to someone and learn from them.
Yeah, and that's such a good reminder for anyone learning English,
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Even if they seem simple, every conversation is a chance to learn something new.
Absolutely. And remember, everyone's learning all the time. Even native speakers are constantly learning and refining their language skills.
So true. So true.
Yeah. So just enjoy the process.
Okay, so if we kind of zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture here, this dialogue wasn't just about vocabulary or grammar. It was really about human connection, empathy, this shared experience of stress that we all have.
Right. It reminds us that we're all kind of in this together. We all face challenges and we're all trying to figure out how to deal with them.
Exactly. And sometimes the most valuable insights come from these like simple everyday conversations. We just have to be open to listening and learning from each other.
And that's what makes language so fascinating. It's not just about communicating, it's about connecting with other people, sharing stories, offering support, and learning from each other's experiences.
I love that. So as you continue learning English, remember that it's not just about the rules and the vocabulary. It's about using the language to connect with others, to build relationships, and to understand the world around you a little bit better.
Yeah, and who knows, you might even learn some valuable life lessons along the way, like how to manage stress or how to be more mindful.
Right, exactly. So if you're feeling inspired to maybe try out some of these stress-busting techniques we talked about, share your experiences in the comments. Let's create a little community of support and learning.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more conversations like this.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at if now is a good time to start a business.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so we'll be diving deep into this article called Starting Your Own Business, A New Era of Opportunities.
Okay.
To see if like it really is a good time or if that's all just hype,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting about this article is that it was published after like the whole pandemic thing, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's kind of looking at the business world with like fresh eyes, you know, recognizing that things have like really changed.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And one of the biggest changes is this article mentions this crazy stat
Okay.
that in 2022 alone, over 5 million new businesses were started
Wow.
in the U.S.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that's like a ton of people taking the leap.
Yeah.
What do you think is behind that surge?
Well, I think the pandemic definitely like shook things up, you know?
Yeah.
Gave people a chance to like step back and reevaluate their careers.
Hmm.
And a lot of them decided they wanted something different.
Yeah, like something more.
Exactly something more.
So all that time at home like sparked all these entrepreneurial dreams.
Exactly. And that's where like all the online resources come in.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you've got like courses and guides and online communities.
Yeah.
Everything you need to learn is like right there at your fingertips.
Yeah.
The barriers to entry are lower than ever.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But starting a business takes money, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So did the government support during the pandemic play a role too?
Absolutely. Those stimulus checks and other financial aid
Right.
really gave people the cushion they needed to take a risk, you know?
It's like an investment almost.
Yeah, it wasn't just a handout. It was like seed money for a new chapter.
That's really interesting. So what kinds of businesses are people launching in this new era?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, this article talks about a mix of online and like brick and mortar models.
Yeah, you know, it's not really an either-or situation anymore.
Yeah.
You can have an online store and a physical shop. Yeah, reaching customers in like a lot of different ways.
Right.
It's all about being flexible and meeting people where they are.
It's like having the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
And speaking of worlds, what kinds of businesses are really like taking off in this new landscape?
Well, the popular areas are really just a direct reflection of what people need and want right now.
Okay.
You know, we're seeing a rise in like tech support businesses,
Ah.
specialized retail shops, personal care services,
Yeah.
things that offer that personal touch and cater to like a desire for connection.
Yeah. That personal touch seems to be like a recurring theme here.
Yeah, for sure.
So getting to the heart of our deep drive, why does this article claim that now is like a particularly good time to start a business?
I think it boils down to like two major factors.
Okay, let's hear them.
Okay, so first, there's less competition from big companies in certain areas.
Really?
Yeah, as they automate and outsource, they're leaving space for small businesses to like fill the gap,
Right.
you know, offering a more human, personalized experience.
So it's like those big companies are losing their grip a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that opens up opportunities for the smaller players.
Exactly. And the second factor is the rise of support local movements.
Oh, yeah.
Customers are actively choosing to support small independent businesses over large corporations.
I see that a lot.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
People are craving authenticity and like a sense of community.
Right. And when you combine those factors, less competition from the giants and a growing desire to support local,
Mm-hmm.
you've got pretty fertile ground for new ventures.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, so what does all of this mean for someone out there who's thinking about starting a business?
It means there's a real hunger for what small businesses can offer.
Okay.
That personal touch, that connection, that sense of community.
Right.
It's a great time to tap into that demand.
Okay, before we move on, let's take a minute to break down some of the key ideas we've been talking about.
Okay, sounds good.
First up, be your own boss. What does that really mean?
It means having the freedom and flexibility to call the shots.
Okay.
You set your own schedule,
Yeah.
make your own decisions,
Right.
shape your own destiny.
Cool.
It's all about independence and ownership.
It sounds empowering, and then there's personal touch, which we've mentioned a few times already.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, personal touch is about going beyond just transactions.
Okay.
It's about creating a genuine connection with your customers, making them feel seen and valued.
I like that.
It's about offering something unique and personalized that you won't find at a big box store.
Definitely. And that leads us to support local. Why is this movement so important, especially when we're talking about entrepreneurship?
Because it's about investing in your community.
Okay.
When you support local businesses, you're not just buying a product or service.
Right.
You're helping to create jobs, boost the local economy, and foster a sense of place.
So support local is a win-win.
Yeah, totally.
It benefits both the community and the entrepreneurs who make it thrive.
Yeah.
And if you're enjoying this deep dive and want to hear more insightful discussions like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give us a like.
Yes, please do.
It really helps us out.
Now, before we jump into the next part of the article, I want to pose a question to our listeners.
Okay, so we've established that big companies might be losing some ground and small businesses have a real opportunity to step up.
Yeah.
But what does that look like in practice?
Well, the article points out that one of the biggest challenges for those big companies is replicating that personal touch.
Right.
They're so focused on efficiency and scale that they often miss those little details that make customers feel special, you know?
So it's not just about like being friendly, it's about going above and beyond
Right,
to
exactly.
create like a memorable experience.
Exactly. It felt about like a local bakery
Okay.
where the owner knows your name and your favorite pastry.
Ah,
Or a small clothing boutique that offers like personalized styling advice.
right.
These are things that like algorithms and automated systems just can't replicate.
Yeah, it's that human connection,
Yeah.
that feeling of being like known and valued
Yeah.
that really makes a difference.
Absolutely. And those small personal touches can be a huge advantage for small businesses.
Right.
You know, they can build loyalty, generate word of mouth marketing, and create a sense of community around their brand.
Yeah, so this article is painting a pretty optimistic picture for aspiring entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
but it doesn't shy away from the fact that starting a business is hard work.
Oh, of course, it takes passion and dedication and a willingness to learn and adapt.
For sure.
But the article also offers some practical advice for navigating those challenges.
Okay.
One key takeaway is to like start small and scale gradually.
Right. Don't try to do everything at once.
Exactly. Test the waters.
Yeah.
Learn as you go and grow organically.
Makes sense. And what's another crucial piece of advice?
Another crucial piece of advice is to leverage the power of community.
Community. Okay.
Talk to other small business owners, join online forums, and seek out mentors who can provide guidance and support.
It's like tapping into a collective wisdom,
Yeah.
learning from those who have already like walked the path.
Exactly. And remember, the article emphasizes that now is a good time to start a business.
Right?
So if you have an idea that you're passionate about, don't wait for the perfect moment.
Just go for it.
Yeah, take action, even if it's just like taking that first step
Okay.
of writing down your business plan or researching your market.
Yeah, it's all about turning that dream into a reality,
Mm-hmm.
one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Now, before we dive into the final section of the article, let's do a quick recap of those key terms
Okay.
that are essential for anyone venturing into the world of entrepreneurship.
Sounds good.
First up, be your own boss.
This is all about autonomy and control. It
Right.
means you get to set your own hours, make your own decisions,
Right.
and shape your own work-life balance.
It's about being the captain of your own ship.
Exactly.
And then we have personal touch, which we've talked about quite a bit already.
Yes, personal touch. Is that extra? Something, that human element that elevates a transaction into an experience. It's
Wow.
about creating a genuine connection with your customers and making them feel like more than just a number.
It's about creating a relationship, not just a sale.
Exactly.
And next up, we have retail.
Retail simply refers to the business of selling products directly to consumers.
Okay.
It can be online in a brick-and-mortar store or a combination of both.
It's all about getting those products into the hands of the people who want them.
Exactly.
And let's not forget about grants.
Oh, yeah. Grants are a fantastic resource for entrepreneurs, especially those just starting out.
Yeah.
They're essentially financial awards given by the government or organizations to help businesses get off the ground or expand their operations.
It's like a helping hand,
Yeah,
a boost to get your business moving in the right direction.
like a boost. Exactly.
And finally, we have support local, a concept that's near and dear to our hearts.
Yes. Support local is more than just a slogan. It's a movement that encourages people to prioritize small, locally owned businesses over large corporations.
It's about recognizing the value that small businesses bring to our communities,
Yeah.
from creating jobs to fostering a sense of local pride.
For sure. And remember, every time you choose to spend your money at a local business, you're making a difference.
You really are.
You're casting a vote for a more vibrant, diverse, and resilient local economy.
Now, as we head into the final part of this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
That stems from the article's core argument. If this new era is all about small businesses stepping up to provide that personal touch that big companies are missing, what specific needs and desires do you think these smaller ventures can fulfill better?
That's a great question. I think it goes beyond just wanting like a friendly face
Yeah.
or a personalized greeting.
Right.
You know, people are craving authenticity, genuine connection, and a sense of belonging. They want to feel like they're a part of something bigger, something that resonates with their values.
So it's not just about buying a product, it's about like buying into a story,
Exactly.
a mission, a community.
A community, exactly. Think about those independent bookstores where you can find author readings and book clubs.
Right.
And a curated selection that reflects the owner's passion.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, or those local coffee shops that double as community hubs hosting open mic nights and supporting local artists.
Right.
You know, they're offering more than just a product. They're offering an experience, a connection, a sense of place.
It's like choosing to buy a handcrafted piece of jewelry from a local artisan instead of a mass-produced item from a big box store.
Exactly.
You're not just getting like a beautiful object.
Right.
You're supporting a dream, a passion,
A person.
a person. Exactly. And those personal stories, those human connections are what resonate with people
Yeah,
on a deeper level.
for sure.
And that's where small businesses can really shine.
You know, they can build relationships with their customers, create a sense of community, and offer something unique and authentic that you won't find anywhere else.
So for anyone out there who's thinking about taking the leap into entrepreneurship, what's the biggest takeaway from this deep dive?
I think it's this: don't just start a business. Start a movement.
Ooh.
Create something that you're passionate about.
Right.
Something that aligns with your values.
Mm-hmm.
Something that connects with people on a human level.
Yeah.
Find that niche, that desire that's not being met by the big guys.
Right.
And fill it with passion, purpose, and that all-important personal touch.
And remember, as this article emphasizes, now's a great time to do it.
Yeah.
The demand is there, the support is there, and the opportunity is waiting.
So go out there, future entrepreneurs, and make your mark on the world.
I love it.
Start small, dream big, and never underestimate the power of that personal touch.
That's a wrap on this deep dive into the exciting world of entrepreneurship. We hope you found it insightful, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit empowering.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with anyone who might need a little entrepreneurial nudge.
Yeah, spread the love.
Until next time, keep those ideas flowing. Okay, so planning a family vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it feels like it's like
Right.
a big challenge, Trying to get everyone on board with an idea.
Absolutely.
Different energy levels, different ideas.
Right.
Packing alone can be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're doing this deep dive today,
Yeah.
to give you some tips on how to navigate all of that.
That's exactly it.
We're going to go through a whole bunch of different vacation ideas.
Okay.
Help you figure out the perfect spot for your family.
It's like we're vacation matchmakers almost.
I love that.
Yeah. But instead of just swiping right,
Yeah.
we're really going to get into
Yeah.
like what makes each place
Exists.
unique and special.
And you know what's really cool about the stuff we read?
What's that?
Is that it goes beyond just like listing a place.
Okay.
It actually gives you an idea of like what type of family
Okay.
would really like that place.
I see.
So let's start
Okay.
with the beach lovers out there. Those folks who just live for sun and sand.
Classic.
The classic beach vacation.
Yeah.
And our sources pointed out some really great places that are really family friendly.
Awesome.
So first off, we've got Orlando, Florida.
Joe?
Now, when you think of Orlando, you think of like
Theme parks.
theme parks, right?
Yeah.
Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld.
Of course.
But our sources actually gave us a little tip
Oh, really?
for avoiding the huge crowds.
Okay.
If you go during the fall or winter months,
Yeah.
apparently the lines are way shorter.
That makes sense.
And it's just a much more relaxed vibe.
That's a great tip, especially for families.
Yeah. So you can maximize the fun,
Right.
minimize the stress.
Exactly.
All right, now let's head over to San Diego.
Okay.
Obviously, you have the famous zoo,
Of course.
which is a must-see for animal lovers.
Absolutely.
But did you know that San Diego
Mm-hmm.
also has these amazing tide pools?
I didn't, actually.
Yeah. Our sources describe them as like living laboratories.
Oh.
So kids can get up close to all these
Oh.
fascinating sea creatures.
That's a good one.
I think that's a really great example of how our sources
Yeah.
help us go beyond those
Right.
typical tourist attractions.
Yeah,
And find those little hidden gems.
for sure.
Okay, now Myrtle Beach
All
offers something completely different.
right.
Our sources talked about how vibrant
Uh-huh.
the boardwalk is,
Okay.
all the arcades, the carnival games,
Oh, fun.
all those classic boardwalk
Yep.
treats like saltwater taffy and funnel cake.
Oh, yeah.
It just sounds like a place where you could just let loose,
Yeah.
have some fun, get some
Yeah.
great pictures.
For sure.
Okay, now let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
to a more sophisticated beach experience.
Right.
Miami Beach.
Okay.
Now, it's known for like the Art Deco architecture,
Right.
trendy nightlife scene.
Yeah.
But our sources say that Miami Beach also has
Okay.
a surprisingly family-friendly side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've got parks, museums,
Okay.
cultural events,
So there's a lot to do.
lots of options for families who want to mix
Yes.
relaxation with a bit of exploration.
I see.
Okay, so we've covered some amazing beaches.
Yeah.
But now let's talk about those families
Okay.
who dream of escaping
Oh.
to an island paradise.
Island paradise.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds nice.
Palm trees, crystal clear waters.
Yeah.
Just pure bliss.
For sure.
And our sources picked out a couple of island destinations.
Okay.
that are perfect for families.
Right.
First up, Hawaii,
Okay.
specifically the island of Maui.
Maui.
Now, Maui is known for its beautiful beaches,
Of course.
but our sources highlight a really unique experience.
What's that?
Biking down the Haleakala volcano at sunrise.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
That sounds incredible.
Coasting down those slopes.
Yeah.
The world bathed in like the golden hues of dawn.
Yeah.
Just seems like one of those experiences
Yeah.
that would just stay with you
Absolutely.
forever.
Make memories.
Okay, now let's jet off to another island paradise,
All right.
the Bahamas.
Bahamas.
Our sources really highlighted the Atlantis resort,
Okay.
and for good reason.
Yeah.
It's basically like a giant water park,
Oh, wow.
aquarium, and luxury resort all in one.
Really? All in one?
Yeah, you've got those water slides that plunge through shark tanks,
Whoa.
lazy rivers for a more relaxed pace,
Nice.
even opportunities to interact with dolphins.
Wow.
It really does sound like a dream come true for kids.
Yeah.
And I'm a little jealous myself.
Me too.
But here's a tip from our sources.
Okay.
If you're looking for a more tranquil experience,
Right.
consider exploring some of the smaller, less developed islands
Okay.
in the Bahamas.
I see.
They have these pristine beaches, secluded coves.
Yeah.
It's a chance to really escape those crowds.
I'd like that.
So we've talked about beaches,
Yeah.
we've talked about islands,
Right.
but what about those families who want something
Yeah.
a bit more off the beaten path, who want to trade their swimsuits for hiking boots
Right.
and really immerse themselves in nature?
Okay.
Well, get ready to be blown away by Iceland.
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 Okay.
It's definitely a destination that
Yeah.
evokes a sense of adventure
Adventure. Yeah.
and discovery.
For sure.
Our sources describe it as a land of fire and ice.
Fire and ice.
And the pictures alone
Oh, I
are enough to make your jaw drop.
can imagine.
Imagine standing in awe of these towering waterfalls like Gullfoss,
Wow.
where the water just cascades down
Yeah.
with incredible force.
Powerful.
Or picture yourself hiking through a geothermal area,
Okay.
surrounded by steaming vents,
Wow.
bubbling mud pots.
Like another planet.
It's like stepping onto another planet.
Yeah.
And speaking of otherworldly experiences,
Yes.
our sources highlight the Blue Lagoon,
Oh, yeah. The Blue Lagoon.
this geothermal spa
Okay.
where you can relax in these milky blue water
Oh.
surrounded by lava fields.
That's amazing.
Here's a tip, though, from our sources.
Okay.
Because Iceland is becoming more and more popular,
Right.
it's really important to book your accommodations
Right.
and tours in advance.
Yeah.
Especially if you're traveling during peak season.
That's good advice.
Yeah. Planning ahead
Yeah.
is key.
For sure.
So we've covered a lot.
They have.
Beaches, islands,
Yeah.
even the otherworldly landscapes of Iceland.
Yeah.
And the great thing is,
Yeah.
our source material really gives us
Yeah.
a deeper understanding of what makes each place special.
Okay.
So it really helps us match the right destination
Right.
to the right family.
It's like having a personalized travel guide
Exactly.
tailored to each family's needs and
Yeah.
interests.
I love it.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know, as we're kind of digging into all these different destinations,
Yeah.
I keep seeing this phrase family friendly pop up.
Right.
But what does that really mean?
That's a good question. Like,
Yeah.
what are we actually looking for? When we say a place is good for families,
Exactly.
well, our sources talked about a few different things.
Okay.
Think about stroller-friendly walkways,
Okay. Yeah.
kids' menus at restaurants,
Yeah.
maybe even babysitting services at the resorts.
Right. So it's like they're thinking ahead.
Yeah, anticipating those needs,
Yeah.
making things easier for parents.
Absolutely. And it can look different
Yeah.
depending on where you are. So,
Right.
like in Orlando,
Yeah,
family friendly might mean
yeah,
resorts with themed pools and character breakfasts.
right, exactly.
Whereas in Iceland,
Yeah,
it might be more about those guided tours that are
Right.
designed for families.
yeah.
Shorter hikes, activities for younger kids.
So it's about finding those destinations
Right.
that really understand
Yeah.
what it means to travel with a family.
Absolutely.
Now, before we wrap up this whole deep dive
Okay.
on family vacation inspiration,
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on something that our sources mentioned, but didn't really go into too much detail on.
Okay.
It's choosing activities that appeal to everyone.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of planning
Right.
that you forget
Yeah.
that a vacation
Uh-huh.
is really about creating these shared experiences.
Exactly. It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right.
It's about those moments
Yeah.
you have together
Yeah.
as a family.
Our sources actually had some good examples.
Okay.
Like in Hawaii,
Yeah.
you could have a day of surfing lessons
Okay.
for the adventurous types.
Right.
And then in the evening, maybe a relaxing stroll along the beach
Nice.
for those who just want to chill.
So there's something for everyone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or in San Diego,
Yeah.
you could spend the morning at the zoo.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon, kayaking in La Jolla Cove.
Oh, fun.
So you're hitting those animal lovers
Right.
and the water enthusiasts.
Exactly. You got to find that balance.
It's all about that balance,
Yeah.
making sure everyone feels included.
Yes.
This brings us to a really crucial point.
Okay.
While our sources gave us a great overview of destinations,
Right.
they also emphasized that the perfect family vacation is ultimately about spending quality time together.
Yeah.
It's about disconnecting
Right.
from the hustle and bustle of life,
Yes.
reconnecting with each other,
Absolutely.
whether you're building sandcastles on the beach,
Yeah.
sharing a meal,
Yeah.
laughing over a board game.
Those are the moments.
Those are the moments that really matter.
that matter.
The destinations we talked about today,
Yeah.
they just provide that backdrop
Right.
for those moments to unfold,
The setting. Exactly.
for those memories.
Oh.
So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Okay.
I want to stress that
Yeah.
these destinations are really just a starting point.
A jumping off point
They're meant to get the conversation started.
within the family.
Exactly. Talk to your family members.
Yeah.
Figure out what they're interested in.
Right.
And then together decide
Yes.
what kind of experience you want to create.
Because there's no one size fits all.
Yeah. There's no magic formula.
No.
All right. Now, our sources also had some travel tips
Oh, good.
that I thought were worth mentioning.
Okay, let's hear them.
One of the biggest ones is
Yeah.
figuring out the best time to visit each destination.
Oh, that's important.
Right. So for Orlando,
Yeah.
our sources suggested
Yeah.
fall or winter
To avoid the crowds.
to avoid those summer crowds.
Yeah.
And for beach destinations in general,
Yeah.
it's always a good idea
Right.
to check the weather patterns,
Yeah.
avoid hurricane season.
Make sure it's safe.
Another big tip
Okay.
is packing strategically,
Oh, yeah. Especially with kids.
especially with kids.
Yeah.
Sunscreen hats,
Mm-hmm.
comfortable shoes,
Central.
those are must-haves
For
no
sure.
matter where you go.
And snacks.
Oh, yeah, snacks and little toys.
Oh, yeah, to keep them entertained.
Those can be lifesavers.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
On long flights or road trips.
For sure.
And last but not least,
Okay.
our sources said
Yeah,
book accommodations and activities
right.
in advance.
Yeah, especially during peak season.
Especially during peak season.
yeah.
That can save you
Yeah.
so much stress.
Absolutely.
So to recap,
Okay.
planning ahead,
Uh-huh.
packing smart,
Yeah,
choosing the right time to visit,
right.
those are all key
Yeah,
for a successful family vacation.
for sure.
But in the midst of all the planning and packing,
Right.
don't forget the most important ingredient,
What's that?
fun.
Of course. You gotta have fun.
A family vacation should
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
an opportunity to relax,
Mhm.
reconnect,
Yeah.
and just make those memories.
Exactly.
So embrace the spontaneity.
Yeah.
Allow for a little flexibility in the itinerary,
Right.
and most importantly, enjoy the journey.
Love it.
Speaking of the journey,
Okay.
our sources also talked about
Yeah.
embracing the unexpected.
Oh, interesting.
So sometimes the best moments happen when we
Yeah.
kind of stray from the
Right.
planned path.
Yeah, go off the beaten path a little bit.
Right. So be open to new experiences.
Yeah,
Maybe venture beyond those typical tourist attractions.
I like that.
Like instead of just hitting the iconic landmarks,
Right.
Why not explore a local market?
Yeah.
Try some new cuisine.
Okay.
Or get lost in a charming neighborhood.
Those are the things you remember.
Right. Those are the experiences that you really remember.
The authentic experience.
Those off-the-beaten-path experiences can lead to
Yeah.
really authentic and rewarding travel memories.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, now as we wrap up this part,
Okay.
I want to touch on something else our sources highlighted.
All right.
The power of shared decision-making
Oh, yeah.
when it comes to planning a family vacation.
It's not just one person dictating.
Right. Not just one person calling the shots.
No, it should be a group effort.
Everyone's voice should be heard.
Absolutely.
So instead of
Yeah.
just saying, hey, we're going to Iceland,
Yeah.
why not get everyone together?
Yeah.
Spread out some maps and brochures,
I love that.
brainstorm some ideas.
Yeah, it gets everyone excited.
That's how you build anticipation.
Yeah. And invested.
And it also allows for those unexpected gems to come up.
Right. Like maybe your kid has been reading about a certain museum
Exactly.
in San Diego.
Or your partner has always wanted to try
Yeah.
a specific Hawaiian dish.
Right.
It's those personal touches
Yeah.
that can make a good vacation,
Yeah.
an unforgettable one.
Absolutely.
And it creates that sense of ownership,
Right.
responsibility within the family.
Yeah, everyone feels like they contributed.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's keep in mind
Yeah.
shared decision-making,
Uh-huh.
embracing spontaneity,
Yeah.
and just creating those unforgettable shared experiences
Right.
that make a family vacation truly special.
Absolutely. You know, we've talked about all these great places, but I have a feeling some families might be looking for something
Yeah.
even more adventurous, you know?
Right. Like our sources hinted at the fact that there are so many
Yeah.
unique and off the beaten path experiences out there.
Absolutely. Like for those families who really want to push their boundaries,
Right.
step outside their comfort zones,
Exactly.
create a vacation that's truly unforgettable.
So we're talking about those families who want more than just
Right.
the typical tourist spots.
Think trekking through the Amazon rainforest,
Wow.
climbing Mount Kilimanjaro,
Okay.
exploring the Galapagos Islands.
Now, those are some adventurous ideas.
Yeah.
But what about families with younger kids?
Well, our sources mentioned
Yeah.
that there are actually a lot of adventure travel companies
Okay.
that specialize in family trips.
I see.
They offer these modified itineraries,
Okay.
activities that are suitable for all ages.
So you could have like a family-friendly safari
Exactly.
or a gentle rafting trip down a scenic river.
Yeah, or a guided trek through a national park.
I love that. And you know what's really cool about these types of experiences?
What's that?
The educational value.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine your kids learning about different cultures,
Yeah.
ecosystems, wildlife.
It's an education you can't get
Right.
from a textbook.
It's firsthand knowledge.
Yeah, it's about fostering that sense of curiosity,
Right.
wonder, appreciation for the world.
And those are values that
Yeah.
will stick with them forever.
Absolutely.
So to all those families out there who
Yeah.
are looking for a truly unique and transformative vacation,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to think outside the box.
I love that.
Embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
Push those boundaries.
And create an adventure
Yes.
that you'll remember forever.
Just remember,
Yeah.
choose a destination and activities
Right.
that align with your family's values,
Yeah.
interests, and comfort levels.
Absolutely.
Well, we've come to the end
I know.
of our deep
I
dive.
covered a lot of ground.
I think it's safe to say we
Yeah.
covered a lot.
Sunny beaches.
Tropical islands, breathtaking natural wonders.
Even those off the beaten path adventures.
Right.
That really get your imagination going.
But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the perfect family vacation
Yeah.
isn't about checking destinations off a list.
No, it's not about that.
It's about,
Creating those shared experiences.
yes,
Strengthening family bonds.
right.
And making memories.
Exactly. Memories that will last a lifetime.
That's what it's all about.
So to our listeners out there,
Yeah.
go forth and plan those unforgettable family adventures.
Yes.
Embrace the planning process.
Yeah.
Get everyone involved.
Make it a family affair.
And most importantly,
Yeah.
have fun.
Of course, have fun.
And if you're looking for even more travel inspiration,
Yes.
tips, and insights,
Be sure to subscribe to our channel.
and hit that like button.
We've got a whole world of deep dive.
Coming. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are going to be talking about daily routines.
Yeah,
How daily routines can really help you learn English.
absolutely.
And we have a great article here. It's going to
Yeah.
help us break down all the reasons
Definitely.
why routines are so powerful.
Especially when you're learning a language.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're just starting to learn English.
So are you ready to dive in?
Absolutely.
Well, let's do it.
Okay.
So this article,
Yeah.
it really focuses on 4 key areas
Okay.
where routines can make a really big difference.
I'm listening.
So we're talking about health and sleep stress levels, time management, and building good habits.
Right, and I think we can all agree those things are very important
Totally.
when it comes to learning anything, really.
Yeah,
But especially like a new language.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So should we just jump right in?
Let's get started.
Okay, great.
Let's start with the foundation,
Okay.
which is health and sleep. So you know how sometimes you feel like your brain just isn't working?
Oh, yeah.
Like you can't focus on anything,
Right.
let alone learning new English words and grammar rules.
Absolutely.
Well, a good night's sleep can make a huge difference.
Interesting.
And the key to good sleep,
Okay.
according to this article, is having a consistent sleep schedule.
Just like going to bed and waking up at the same time every day,
Exactly.
even on the weekends.
Yeah. It's all about creating a rhythm for your body.
Rhythm. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about it like music.
Okay.
A song has a beat,
Yeah.
a regular pattern
Uh-huh.
that makes it flow.
Okay.
Your body works the same way.
Okay.
It thrives on consistency.
So when I go to bed and wake up at the same time
Yeah.
every day,
Mm-hmm.
that's establishing a rhythm.
Exactly. You're establishing a natural sleep-wake cycle. It's like setting your internal clock.
Okay, so that's what they mean by rhythm.
Exactly.
Just like a regular pattern or a beat.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And when you have that rhythm,
The article says it can make it so much easier to fall asleep and wake up feeling refreshed.
oh, wow.
Like imagine waking up every morning feeling energized
Oh, yeah.
and ready to tackle those English lessons.
That sounds amazing.
No more hitting that snooze button.
No more dragging myself out of bed
Exactly.
and feeling super groggy
Yeah.
during my English practice sessions.
Yeah, it can make a big difference.
Wow.
Okay.
So a consistent sleep schedule
Yeah.
is like one really important part of a
Yes.
healthy daily routine.
Definitely.
But what else can we do?
Well, the article also emphasizes
Okay.
eating healthy meals
Okay.
at regular times.
Yeah, when I'm thinking about it, I definitely
Yeah.
make healthier choices
Mm-hmm.
when I'm following a routine.
Yeah, I think we all do.
It's like when I'm rushing around, I
Right.
just grab whatever is quick and easy,
Exactly.
which is not always the best for me.
It's not always the healthiest option.
Not at all.
No.
No.
Well, the article suggests
That we plan our meals in advance.
plan in advance.
Yes.
So that means like making a meal plan for the week.
Exactly. And when you plan in advance, you're less likely to make those unhealthy choices at the last minute.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like you can make sure you're eating plenty of fruits, vegetables, lean protein.
Which are
Okay.
really important for my brain
Right.
and energy levels.
Exactly. It's like fueling your English learning engine with premium fuel.
I love that analogy. Premium fuel for my brain to learn English
Yes.
more effectively.
Exactly.
Okay, so to recap,
Okay.
we've learned that a consistent sleep schedule creates a healthy rhythm
Yes.
for our body,
Uh-huh.
and planning meals in advance
Right.
helps us make healthier choices.
Yes.
These are 2 really important parts of a daily routine
Definitely.
that can really boost our overall health and well-being.
Absolutely. And when you feel good physically,
Yeah,
it's so much easier to focus and learn effectively.
that makes sense.
So
Well-
now let's move on to the next benefit of having a daily routine,
Okay.
reducing stress and worry.
Oh, I need help with that.
I think we all do.
I'm constantly stressed,
Yeah.
especially juggling work life
Mm-hmm.
and learning English.
Learning a new language is definitely
Yeah.
a
It
challenge.
can be really overwhelming,
It can.
for sure.
And the article talks about how a routine can act as a sort of roadmap for your day.
A roadmap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like everything is planned out.
Yeah.
So your brain doesn't have to make as many decisions.
Yeah, okay.
You know what to expect.
Okay.
Which can significantly reduce your anxiety and stress.
Interesting. So it's like having a predetermined schedule.
Exactly.
So I don't have to constantly think about what I need to do next.
Exactly. And that frees up so much mental energy.
That makes sense.
So you can actually focus on the tasks at hand, like learning new English vocabulary or practicing your conversation skills.
So instead of feeling scattered and overwhelmed, I can actually like be calm.
Exactly.
And
yes.
During my English session.
Exactly. The article gives a really good example.
Okay.
Think about your mornings.
Okay.
If you have a routine, you know exactly when to wake up.
Okay.
What to eat for breakfast.
Uh-huh.
How much time you have to get ready.
Okay.
Before work or school.
Yeah.
So it eliminates that frantic, rushing around feeling.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Those mornings when I'm scrambling to get everything done.
Right.
And I'm like so stressed out.
Exactly.
Before the day even starts.
Yeah. And the same goes for evenings.
Really?
A routine can really help you wind down.
Oh.
Relax and prepare for the next day.
So maybe like taking some time to review my English lessons.
Exactly.
Or listen to an English podcast.
Or read a book.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
The key is to create that structure that reduces stress and allows for that focused learning.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this all fits together.
Yeah.
A consistent routine can help me manage my stress.
Absolutely.
Especially when it comes to learning English.
Yes. It's all about creating that supportive structure for your learning journey.
Gotcha.
Now, speaking of structure, let's move on to the next benefit that's highlighted in the article.
I'm ready.
Saving time and money.
Saving time.
Yes.
Tell me more.
I think that's something.
Especially about saving time.
Yeah, we can all
I feel
save.
like I never have enough time.
Right. We all wish we had more time.
Totally.
Well, the article makes a really interesting point.
Okay.
It says that a routine can help you eliminate wasted time.
Eliminate wasted time.
Yeah, so think about it.
Okay.
When you have a plan, you know exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it.
Okay.
So you're not spending all this time trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Or getting sidetracked by distractions.
It's just like having a plan gives me direction.
Exactly.
So I'm not wasting time like wandering around.
Right. You're not wasting time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And when you're not wasting time, you have more time to devote to the things that are important to you.
Like learning English.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here.
Good.
A routine helps me stay focused.
Yes.
Avoid wasting time.
Yes.
Which means I have more time to practice my English.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about saving money?
That's a great question.
How does a routine help me with that?
Well, remember how we talked about planning meals in advance?
Yeah, to make healthier choices and avoid that fast food.
Exactly.
At the last minute.
Well, planning meals also means that you can often buy food in bulk.
Oh, yeah.
Which can save you money.
Buying in bulk is definitely cheaper.
It is. Yeah. And another example the article mentions is exercise.
Okay.
A lot of people spend money on gym memberships, but then they don't actually go.
Right.
But if you have a routine that includes exercise, you're more likely to actually go to the gym and use that membership.
So I can actually use that gym membership and be healthier.
Exactly. You're more likely to stay committed to those health goals.
Gotcha.
And the same principle applies to learning English.
Okay.
If you schedule regular study time into your routine, you're more likely to make consistent progress.
That makes sense.
And avoid wasting money
on
those language learning resources
Yeah.
that you don't end up using.
Right, because I've definitely been there.
We've all been there.
So many apps.
So many books.
So many different things
Exactly.
that I've bought and not used.
And it happens.
Yeah.
But a routine can help with that.
Okay, I'm really starting to see the big picture here.
Yeah.
A routine isn't just about being organized.
It's about so much more.
It's about optimizing my time.
Yes.
My money.
Yeah,
our overall well-being,
absolutely.
which can have a huge impact on learning English.
It can really set you up for success.
Wow.
And that brings us to the most exciting part. How routines can help you build better habits.
Okay, so when we're talking about habits,
Yeah.
we're talking about actions
Yes.
that you do regularly,
Regular, almost automatically.
almost automatically.
Yeah.
So like brushing my teeth
Exactly.
or making my bed.
Right. Those are things you do
Yeah.
without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And the article highlights
Oh,
some really valuable habits
okay.
that can really improve your English learning.
Interesting.
Things like exercise, healthy eating, productivity techniques.
Okay, let's break those down.
Okay.
What kind of habits are we talking about?
Sure.
And how can they help someone who's learning English?
So let's start with exercise.
Okay.
Even a short workout.
Yeah.
Each day can do wonders
Okay.
for your energy levels
Yeah.
and focus.
That makes sense.
And the article suggests
Okay.
using the phrase set a time.
Set a time.
Yes, for
Nice.
exercise.
Okay.
So, for example, you could set a time for a 10-minute walk every evening.
So set a time means like
Yeah.
decide on a specific time
Exactly.
to do something.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can apply that same phrase to your English studies.
Oh,
So you could set a time for 30 minutes
okay.
of vocabulary practice every morning.
Okay. I'm getting set a time for a specific activity.
Exactly.
Make it part of my routine.
Yes.
What about healthy eating?
Well, for healthy eating,
Yeah.
the article suggests plan meals.
Oh, right. We talked about that earlier.
Right.
Planning meals in advance
Exactly.
helps me make healthier choices.
It does.
Okay.
And when you're planning your meals, try using the phrase healthy ingredients.
Healthy ingredients.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like fruits, vegetables, protein.
Okay.
So you could say, for example,
Yeah.
I'm planning my meals for the week, and I'm making sure to include plenty of healthy ingredients.
Okay. Plan meals.
Yeah.
Healthy ingredients.
Exactly. And now how about those productivity habits?
Productivity habits.
Yeah.
How can they help me learn English?
Yeah. Well, the article highlights a phrase we've already talked about,
Okay.
plan in advance,
Plan in advance.
which is all about being organized and proactive
Okay.
with your time.
Gotcha.
And a great way to do this
Yeah.
is by creating a to-do list.
A to-do list.
Yes. And the phrase you can use here is write a to-do list.
Okay, so in the morning, I could write a to-do list.
Exactly.
That includes things like
Yeah.
practicing English vocabulary,
Oh.
listening to an English podcast.
Or reading a book.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And writing a to-do list really helps you visualize your goals
Okay.
and stay on track throughout the day.
So I'm loving all of these tips.
Good.
We've got set a time for exercise.
Yes.
And English practice.
Uh-huh.
We've got plan meals with healthy ingredients
Right.
and write a to-do list to
Exactly.
stay organized and boost productivity.
Exactly.
These are all such valuable habits
Yeah.
that can really help me learn English. Absolutely. And the best part is when you do these things consistently,
Uh-huh.
they become second nature.
Really?
You know, they become ingrained habits
Wow.
that just support your English learning journey
That would be amazing.
without you even having to think about them.
Okay, this is all super inspiring.
I'm glad.
But I have to admit, starting a new routine can feel a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah, it can be a little daunting.
Yeah, so where do we even begin?
Right.
The article mentions some tips, right?
It does. Yeah, it does. It actually emphasizes starting small. That's the first key tip.
Okay, so instead of trying to change everything at once, I should pick just one small thing to focus on.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating here
Yeah.
is that those tiny changes
Uh-huh.
can actually snowball into bigger ones over time.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of trying to wake up an hour earlier,
Okay.
maybe just start with 15 minutes earlier for a week.
That feels a lot more doable.
Yeah.
Like I could handle setting my alarm 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
And using that time for a quick vocabulary review.
Exactly. And once that feels natural,
Okay.
you can gradually add another mini habit.
Okay.
Maybe you start incorporating 5 minutes of English conversation practice into your evening routine.
So just build up gradually.
Exactly. Small steps lead to big changes.
Okay, start small.
Yeah.
Got it. What's the next tip?
Okay, so this one's my favorite.
Okay.
Make it fun.
Make it fun.
Yeah, the article really stresses that your routine shouldn't feel like a chore.
That makes sense.
Like if you dread it,
Yeah.
you're not going to stick with it.
I've definitely abandoned routines in the past
Yeah.
because they felt too rigid, too
Yeah.
boring.
It has to be something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not going to work.
So how do we make a routine fun?
Well,
Especially when it comes to learning English.
think about what you genuinely enjoy
Okay.
and find ways to weave those activities into your routine. So, for example, if you love music,
yeah.
listen to English songs while you exercise.
Oh, that's a great idea.
That's a double win
Yeah.
for your body and your language skills.
And I could even sing along to practice my pronunciation.
Exactly. What's really fascinating is that when you incorporate those fun activities,
Okay.
you actually shift your mindset
Oh, wow.
from I have to do this
Yeah.
to I want to do this.
I like that.
So learning becomes something you look forward to,
Yeah.
not something you dread.
Okay, that's a really good point.
So any other tips for making the routine more appealing?
I don't know. Do you have any other suggestions?
Well, the article also suggests reading for pleasure.
Reading.
Yeah. So if you're a bookworm,
Uh-huh.
try reading a simple English book before bed.
Well, that's a good idea.
Even children's books
Okay.
can be a great way to expand your vocabulary and get comfortable with sentence structure.
You know, I used to love reading as a kid.
Yeah,
Maybe I can rediscover that joy
exactly.
while also learning English.
It's all about finding what works for you
Okay.
and making it enjoyable.
Okay, so to recap,
Yeah.
we've got start small
Yes.
and make it fun.
make it fun.
Okay, ready for the final tip.
This is the most crucial one.
Okay, hit me with it. I'm ready.
Be consistent.
Be consistent.
That's where the real magic happens.
Okay.
The article emphasizes doing your activities at the same time each day,
At the same time each day.
as much as possible.
Okay.
So, for example, if you decide to practice English vocabulary for 10 minutes every morning,
Okay.
try to do it at roughly the same time each day.
So like right after I make my coffee.
Exactly. Consistency helps your body and mind adjust.
So it becomes more natural over time.
Exactly. It's like setting that rhythm.
Oh, right. That rhythm we talked about before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your body gets used to that pattern
Right.
and starts expecting those activities at those specific times.
So my body starts to naturally feel tired at bedtime
Exactly.
and wake up feeling refreshed when my alarm goes off.
Precisely. It's like your body becomes your own personal alarm clock.
That's amazing.
It is pretty cool.
Okay, so before we move on, let's just quickly recap
Okay.
those 3 key tips
Yes.
for building a successful routine.
Okay.
First, start small.
Start small.
Don't try to do too much too soon.
Right.
Second, make it fun.
Make it fun.
Incorporate activities I actually enjoy
Yes.
to keep myself motivated.
Yes.
And third, be consistent.
Be consistent.
Do my activities at the same time every day
Yes.
to help my body and mind adjust
Exactly.
and create that rhythm.
that all-important rhythm.
Okay, those tips are super helpful.
Good.
I feel like I have a much clearer understanding now
I'm glad.
of how to approach building a routine that'll actually work for me.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Remember, the goal is to create a sustainable routine
Yeah.
that supports your overall well-being
Uh-huh.
and enhances your English learning journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into daily routines,
Okay.
let's take a moment to review some of those key words and phrases that we've been using. I know this will be especially helpful for our listeners who are just starting to learn English.
Absolutely.
So let's start with daily routine.
Okay, so daily routine refers to those activities you do each day
Uh-huh.
in a planned order.
Okay.
It's the structure you create for your day.
Right. So my daily routine might include things like
Yeah.
waking up at a certain time,
Yeah.
eating breakfast,
Uh-huh.
going to work,
Yeah.
studying English,
Yeah.
exercising,
Mm-hmm.
and going to bed.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's move on to rhythm.
Okay, so rhythm, we talked about how important rhythm is
Yeah.
for our body's natural sleep-wake cycle.
Right. Rhythm is like a regular pattern or a beat,
Exactly.
like a beat of a song.
Exactly.
Okay. And a consistent routine helps us establish a healthy rhythm for our body.
Yes, it does.
Okay, now how about plan in advance?
So plan in advance means to decide what to do or prepare
Well,
before something happens.
so I can plan in advance by creating a meal plan for the week or making a to-do list for the day.
Exactly. And planning in advance helps us stay organized,
Oh.
make healthier choices,
Uh-huh.
and avoid wasting time and money.
Okay, now let's talk about saving money.
Okay, saving money means to avoid spending more money than necessary.
Right.
And we talked about how a routine can actually help us save money
Yeah.
by allowing us to plan our meals, buy in bulk,
Uh-huh.
and actually use those gym memberships.
Right. Okay, and finally we have build habits.
So build habits means to develop actions that you do regularly,
Okay.
almost automatically.
So like brushing my teeth,
Exactly.
making my bed, exercising.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we talked about how a routine can help us build those healthy habits
Yeah.
that support our English learning.
Okay, fantastic. We've reviewed 5 key words and expressions
Yes, we have.
that are super relevant to our discussion about routine.
Absolutely. And I encourage all of our listeners,
Yeah.
especially those who are learning English,
Yep.
to make an effort to use these words and phrases in your own conversations. The
Okay.
more you use them, more natural they will become.
Okay, so we've covered the amazing benefits of daily routines,
Yeah.
some practical tips for getting started,
Hmm.
and even reviewed some essential vocabulary.
Yes,
It's been a jam-packed deep dive.
it has.
What would you say is the biggest takeaway from all of this?
That's a good question. What's the most important thing our listeners should remember about routines
Yeah.
and their impact on learning English? I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that routines aren't just about being organized.
Yeah.
It's about creating this supportive structure
Uh-huh.
that empowers you to really take control of your health, your time, your mindset.
Absolutely. And I really like that routines can help make English learning
Yeah.
feel less overwhelming.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because instead of feeling like I have to cram everything in,
Right.
a routine allows me to kind of integrate English
Yeah.
into my daily life
Yeah.
in a way that feels manageable
Exactly.
and even enjoyable.
It's about finding those little pockets of time
Yeah.
and making them work for you.
And just kind of weaving in those threads of English practice
I love that.
little by little.
Yeah, weaving it into the fabric of your day.
Exactly.
I like that.
So for those of you who are just starting out
Yeah,
on your English learning journey,
absolutely.
remember that consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Even just dedicating 10 or 15 minutes each day
Yeah.
to practicing vocabulary, listening to a podcast,
Hmm.
or reading a simple English book
Absolutely.
can make a huge difference over time.
It really can.
And if you're feeling stuck or uninspired,
Yeah,
remember those tips we talked about?
absolutely.
Start small, make it
Yeah.
fun,
Yes.
and be consistent.
Be consistent. Those are your guiding principles
Okay.
for building a routine that really works for you.
So this deep dive
Yeah.
has definitely inspired me to kind of revisit my own routine
Yeah.
and see how I can make it even more supportive of my goals.
I think we all can benefit from that.
Yeah. And, for our listeners,
Yes.
remember that a well-crafted routine
Hmm.
can truly be transformative.
Absolutely.
It can help you achieve your language learning goals,
Yes.
reduce stress,
Mhm.
and ultimately live a happier and more fulfilling life.
It's like having a secret weapon,
Yeah.
a superpower
I like that.
that helps you unlock your full potential.
And if you're looking for more tips and strategies,
Yeah.
To enhance your personal growth journey,
Absolutely.
be sure to subscribe to our channel
Yes.
and give this episode a like.
We have so many more resources waiting for you.
We're so passionate about helping you learn and grow.
We are.
So hit that subscribe button
Yes.
and join our amazing community.
We're so glad to have you here.
Okay, well, we'll be back soon
We will.
with another deep dive into a fascinating new topic.
Absolutely.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing,
Yes.
and keep rocking those routines.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for joining the conversation here at Kaz English. We hope you found it fun and informative. Don't forget to check out kazapp.uk. That's kazapp.uk for more tips, resources, and interactive practice. Keep exploring, keep chatting, and we'll catch up with you again soon.